Welcome back to Callahan's Corner, where you ask the questions. We answer them live right here on Facebook. Got a user-submitted question by Jose here. I'm going to read this out. Actually, I'm going to pull this up on the screen here. Jose in one of the user groups says, I created a form so all my techs can fill out on the field after a service. Created V2 since I believe I was told it works better on V2 when linking services and forms on mobile. So before I go farther into that question, Jose is correct. If we're using it in the field, and we're using the legacy app on our phone, we want to be working with V2 forms. V3 forms will not show up in the legacy app. Got it to work, but I have questions on the form with 4 multiple answers. I have linked a custom list field with same list in answers. When I fill out the answers on the mobile app, the answers don't link. Spent a good amount of time troubleshooting. It cannot seem to get it to work. Called SA, but they are confused like I was. I also tried to do this on V3 form, but I cannot even get the form to show up on the mobile, so I'm back to V2. Any help's appreciated. So Jose wanted to actually dive in and break this in there. No need to give us a call or drop us a DM for the answer here in the Mindset of Abundance on Callahan's Corner. We're actually going to show you how to do this. So Jose's got a couple screenshots just to put some context in here. First of which is he's using some radio buttons with the field selections. So not too sure without looking at your account, but if you're using these custom fields, they need to be mapped to the customer, and they also need to be mapped to text, not a list. So that's the first thing I'm looking at, but I'm going to break down and actually show you a form that we used at Callahan's Lawn Care, my lawn care company, how we actually did this. And as we go in here, there's the other picture of the custom fields of the areas here, back only, front only, and how we actually put that together. So Jose, I hope you don't mind showing that, but I want to actually put some context to this question because it's a great question. So as we dive into this here, we're going to go into Service Autopilot forms. This is a form that we used in my lawn care company right up to the day we sold. And I've made a copy of it and put a little tweak on it just so it fits Jose's question a little bit better. So first thing, as we're talking about it here, we're going to be going in though in the Service Autopilot, and we're going to go in, and just so everybody's on the same page here on my phone, you're going to be pulling up the legacy app there. That is the app that you want to have, okay? And when we dial in there, we have the ability to go in and click into that. Now there's a drop-down area for forms. We're going to go in and fill out a form. And when we click to fill out a form, I'm going to click on the 50 commercial inspection form. And that is the form that we've got right here. Haven't figured out how to cast this on my computer. It's on the top of the list of things to do. But if you're looking at it, I've already filled this out to show you how the data flows over. So first thing we're doing then is going into marketing forms. We're adding a V2 form. This is my pre-built form. So there's certain things, Jose, I'm not sure if you had it on there or not, but we really want to tackle is the client's name. And we did that by adding a field, the name, and then address. These two things need to be mapped back in the V2 form. So when we click in there, it is listed to client's name, first name, last name. Service address is going to be the service address. Before we get into the custom fields and how to map this into bonus work that I got you, I've actually got a report that's going to report out on this for you, Jose. So pretty cool stuff. Form settings. Right now, we want to make sure it's auto-approve, create on submit. And we want to create, update the lead, or I guess you could create and update the client because this is an existing client for a follow-up form. We also want to show on the mobile, and the mobile option is on the client. So when those are set, we also probably want to show it on the timeline so we have a receipt of that basically, or a view of that on the timeline. But basically what we've got here is first name, last name, service address are mapped back. We've got our manager's name. We're mapping that back potentially to another custom field. And the date of inspection. So you'll see a naming convention here of 04 KPI inspection. What we did is actually went in and created these custom fields. And I'm going to hit this real quickly because this is part of the problem, potentially, Jose or anybody else watching this, that may be confusing. So we're going to go to the gear icon, and we're going to go to our custom field. Dive into the custom field here. We're going to go in and add a custom field. So 04 was my naming convention. That allowed me to find it, and that's a profile tag or profile custom field. And this could be manager's name for the KPI that I did. We want to associate it to the customer, not the employee, not the property. Reason being is when I show you the bonus report, how to pull this quality control report up from the manager, property is not going to be available. So, hey, what's up, Jose, watching right now, brother? Great question. And I'll send you a link to this as well. And I'm actually going to show you how to create a report on this as well. Value type here on most of these is going to be a text. So in Jose's instance, not a list, but a text is where we'd want to go. And then in addition, what I've done in my form is for the first couple examples, I did a net promoter scores on the quality. So lawn mowing, rate the lawn mowing performed at the last visit. This includes even cut, no turn marks on the grass, trash was not run over, and the grass was directed away from beds blown off prior to finishing the job. And then 0 is the worst, 10 is the best. So we're going to have a ranking score of this. So the manager now, just like Paul did at Callahan's and a few others, Jordan went through on the mobile and filled this out. And then this triggered a report that we could actually go through and take action on and eventually add some tags to and actually create some automations to create an automated ticket. I'm not going to get into the automation part today, but I will later in another video. But obviously just trying to set the mindset of abundance here. Great community around SA. These are things that all users need to know how to do. You shouldn't have to pay somebody to show you how to do this. If you need some help, obviously we're here. But the idea is if this is something you need, you should be able to do it yourself if you need to do it. So what we've done here is we go into lawn mowing, and I've created a custom field 04 lawn mowing KPI. And the way I did that was just like this. So 04 allowed me to easily find them. And I'll show you how easy it made that. So 04 lawn mowing KPI, customer associated value type is actually a number, and we'd hit save. So that's how, when we went in, we would go in and select custom field and go in and type 04 dot, boom. And now all the 04 profile tags for my KPI here are all connected together. So you'll see shrubs on property, KPI manager's name, sucker growth, lawn, line trimming, blowing, weed-free appearance, KPI instruction date, and then the notes was a text field. So that's kind of what Jose was asking about. But what I've got here is we've got the ability to go in now and rank the lawn mowing, the line trimming, the blowing, weed-free appearance and landscape beds, sucker growth on trees, shrubs on property, other inspections due. So these can trigger by tags, automations, and we'll talk about that in another video. And then inspection notes. And inspection notes is exactly what, Jose, you were trying to actually do. So your custom field was, in my instance, 04 KPI notes. And when we look at the 04, this is kind of the cool thing, is when we search for that, now everything's all together. 04 KPI notes, we can tell is a text field. And that's the missing thing. We really don't want that as a list, probably. We want it as a text field. So once we get all that, literally, we're either going to go into the mobile, like I previewed here under the client, and we're going to fill this out, which we did. And I tested it on this client. And if I go under edit and custom fields, we can indeed see that these numbers on my fictitious inspection came in right from the form or from the mobile. So that does work. It's a V2 form and it's a legacy app. Those are the key things we want to be looking at. So how that's going to play out on the desktop, or if we got a throwaway Chromebook where we're using the desktop version in a Chromebook, would be we'd want to go to the A for auto assist and create a quality control forms, go to our summer QC form and fill in the manager's name. So Mike, the manager, and I would go in and now click in the radio buttons as I walked around the property, either in the mobile or on the desktop version. And is it to-do required for extra work? If it is, we could click this and that could create a ticket or a to-do automatically. And we could say landscape beds need to be reweeded on 6/8/2023 and put my initials there. So all that information now is in the automated report. So we'd hit submit and all that data now would start to flow in. So the final thing that I want to leave you guys with here is two things, actually. One other thing that you may not be aware of, Jose, who asked the question, or anybody else, when you have the visibility level of this question set to office only, most of the time it will not appear in the report. Not exactly sure why, to be honest with you, but when I tested it as office only, the custom field did not come into the report. When it was set to everyone, it showed up in the report. So the final thing that I'm going to suggest we do is go to the Service Autopilot Report Center. And we're going to go in data, hit client simple. And we're going to grab probably not account balance, but I did that because I have so many test accounts so I could confirm which test account was which. But basically, we've got client name, client since, service address, city, and postal code. And you probably also have type residential or commercial, so we could segment that. The next option is going to be custom field. So once again, we broke it into 04. That's our profile tag. And we were able to go in and say all the 04 profile tags here is what we needed. So we checked them all. And then we scrolled down and hit OK. And when we did that, it populated some data. Now, the next thing we could do is actually put in a date filter. And I'll show you how to do that. But the idea here is we have not updated any more of these test accounts. And I filtered down just the test accounts in this account. But Test McJagger and Test 887, one of them, ones right here, was done. McJagger was done through the mobile. And then the other one here was done through the desktop through the A for Auto Assist. But now what I've got is I've gone in and averaged the ranking of the scores per service and any notes. So sucker growth needs to be cut back an entire property at 6/8/2023. So this thing here actually is a custom field that now can also be tied into an automated email or other confirmation information that needs to be pulled into a work order later down the line. And this could also automatically trigger a ticket or a to-do as an event for someone to actually be on the hook to do that. Probably wouldn't want account balance, but some of the things I would want to look at is, okay, when had they been a client since? And when was the inspection date? And what I've done is gone in and grouped, and I'll remove the group, but I've actually grouped it by the manager's name. So each manager now is chunked together. Let's go in group by manager's names. Each manager has their own chunk of inspections there. Or if we had a signed resource, we could have the ratings by each signed crew. But this is going to give you this information. So the final piece is we'd want to go in and hit the home button to get back out and save it. Now, remember, these custom fields, every time we do this inspection, are going to get overwritten. So we probably want to create an automated report to go in and click in the thing here. And you only get 5 of these. So you need to obviously use them sparingly. But I would take the analysis and bucket it up into a report to save some of those. But once we have the analysis of the report, we would literally go in, hit from to whoever's sending it to. The subject would be monthly property reports. And we'd probably want to put it in landscape. And we'd want to schedule this on say a weekly basis. And it would go out maybe every Monday. And the start time, we'd have that go out probably at, say, 5 a.m. So it's their first thing. And then we would start it the following Monday here. So once that's set, we hit done, that's going to automatically trigger that PDF email. So if the custom fields do end up getting overwritten month after month, we now have an email copy or hard copy we refer back to as well on the client record. When we go into view client, essays compress this for speed. When we go down to the bottom here where it says details, all the custom fields are viewable, and we can open up and take a look at the form submissions as well in this area. So that will give us all the data that we need on a historical basis. So remember, if you're updating these, don't override the existing form submission, update and enter a new form submission, and that'll get you the data. So Once again, this is how we tackle it. We go in, we create our form, we map them back to the customer in a text field or a number field. It's going to be auto create, prove on, submit, update the client or lead. And we want to map back the client's name here and the service address. And when we get to the client, we want to add under the auto assist. Make sure when you build your form, it's also set to mobile on client. But we want to go in and put our quality control forms and our shortcut there. And when it's on the forms, we have under form settings, we have show in mobile, and we want to update that to the client. And finally, we want to go back into the report center. And once we make the report, we automate the scheduling of it. And when we go into the property inspection report, we want to be able to go into client simple, pull out the custom fields. And we got client name, service address that we've already put in here. And then we want to aggregate these guys on top to average them. And then we want to sort from lowest to highest. So the worst offenders would be here, and any notes would be here. So I can systematically go per crew or per manager for quality control with a weekly or monthly report based on your quality control inspections. And I recommend taking those quality control inspections and assign them as a ticket event with a deadline, assigned and dispatched through the closeout day screen. Do not make it a service, because a $0 amount service and zero budgeted amount service will screw up your data for your job costing and price raising reports, whether you're building yourself or especially if you've done them through Simple Growth. So you want to use those tickets to be able to filter out anything that's not an actual revenue generating job and use them as a ticket that can be scheduled through the closeout or through the dispatch board, tracked through the closeout day screen. Budgeted time can be tracked, but it's not going to show a $0 for revenue when we go to run our reports. So Callahan's Corner, you asked the questions. We answer them live right here on Facebook. Jose, appreciate the question. And if anybody has any questions or you'd like a free analysis of your service autopilot or any other software you're using, www.sgscall.com, and you can grab a 30-minute call with myself or one of our seven-figure business experts on the Simple Growth team. So sgscall.com to book a free call, and feel free to submit your questions here in the messages or on the private user groups that we are in, where we answer the questions free of charge to help you run your business easier without trying to have to take the guesswork and try to create these things that have already been created and